Welcome back to the news at 10. Nigerians in the United Kingdom have called on the new Black and African members of Parliament to proactively represent the interests of the communities in Westminster. Following the recent general elections in Britain, at least 41 politicians were voted into Parliament, 4 of which are of Nigerian descent. The Conservative Party in the UK won, meaning Prime Minister David Cameron continues another term as Prime Minister. In the meantime, the leaders of the other parties have resigned. 4 Nigerians made their wins into the British Parliament. Let's talk more now about the elections in Britain and what lessons there are for Nigeria. Joining me in the studio is International Affairs Analyst Dr. Adetokunbo Pierce. Thank you for joining us on the News at 10.
Good evening.
Well, according to the Britons, this was one of the most boring elections that they had ever witnessed. There was no flair. There was none of the activities that they're used to. You know, the attention, the media attention that it usually had, you know, in past elections. But how did you see these elections?
I saw the elections as being very vibrant. I watched the debates. There were so many parties involved. And there was the question of the Scottish referendum, which played a great part in this particular election. So it was a great election. I think that, you know, there was a coalition government, the Labour Party and the Conservative Party, up till this particular election, before Cameron could win a clear victory for his Conservative Party.
And what's different about this one is that there will be no hung parliament because he had a clear victory. So yes, he goes on to form a government without particularly involving the opposition. But there were also surprises in these elections. 4 parliamentarians of Nigerian descent making their way into the British Parliament. Would that have any impact on Nigerians?
It's not a surprise because...
It's not a surprise. Well, maybe not a surprise for...
3 of them had been there before.
Okay. That would be Chuka, Umuna, and I think...
everybody except Osamo.
Yeah.
All the other 3 had been... They were just re-elected. I think one of them was elected in... I think she's representing Kent. She was elected in 2010. The first female, I believe, conservative black to be elected. So, you know, they already made history. Osama is the 4th one who was just being elected.
And do you think this will have any impact on Nigeria's relations with Britain? I mean, would they make any difference?
I doubt it very much, you know, and it's in the best tradition of politics that they represent the people who elected them to work for them. They were not elected by Nigerians. They did not campaign for Nigerians. So, and they're British. They're British. They may be of Nigerian descent by blood, but socio-politically, culturally, they are British citizens. And I doubt if it would have much impact on our relationship. The relationship with Britain and countries like that is based on principles that are set in their own system of governance. So one parliamentarian is not going to make such a difference. Even if the person was chair of the international committee.
Let's look at the man now who took it all, the winner who took it all, David Cameron. What sort of leader do you make of him these 5 years that he's been 4 or 5 years that he's been British Prime Minister?
This is the kind of thing we can learn a lot from. When Cameron, his last tenure, you could see his commitment to the country. You could see his full effort to improve quality of life and to improve employment. You could see his respect for the democratic process as he processed the referendum in Scotland. He took a big risk. He did not know. There was no guarantee that he could win that. That it would have been the first prime minister to preside over the dissolution of the British government, the United Kingdom. But he took the risk because he believed in democracy, and it worked out. So, you know, when they were campaigning, I was watching all the others, and I had a feeling that Cameron was going to do well because he was so honest in his attitude. You could see him working hard.
Yeah, but why was there still a lot of opposition against him? Because there were protests even after he won the elections.
This is the beauty of democracy. No matter what happens, you have people who are for you and people who are against you. You know, we talk about all the problems that the PDP is happening in this country. We forget, for instance, that the president, Jonathan, won 44% of the vote in Lagos State, as an example. People talk about it, oh, he has lost everything, the PDP has lost everything. They still have over 60 members of the Senate. So it's not all gone. This is democracy. Some win, some lose. Nobody is going to win an election and have 100% support from the people. So, you know, that's democracy.
And as he looks ahead, the next term that he has, how do you think he will steer the United Kingdom?
What he has said is that employment is key. He has to do everything he can to improve the employment rate. And
jobs are really hard to find these days in the UK.
The economy is always under challenge, particularly because of the UK's relationship with the rest of Europe. They're still working that out to see which one will favor the United Kingdom in terms of its own growth, without jeopardizing its traditional historical role as a leader in the world and in Europe.
Dr. Pt.3, thank you so much for being with us on the News at 10.
Thanks for having me.
Dr. Pt.3 is an international affairs analyst, is also a political analyst, discussing the recent general elections in the United Kingdom. The Coordinating Minister of the Economy and the Minister of Finance, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, today declared that the outgoing government created 4 million jobs in 4 years. Speaking in Abuja earlier today, the minister insisted that the economy performed better under President Jonathan than under the past administrations. She then advised the President-elect, General Muhammadu Buhari, to focus more on creating jobs.
You cannot take it away that there are 3,900 young people call you winners today. Unless you suppress them from talking, one day they'll get up and say, how did they get their grant? How did they grow their small business? How did they create 27,000 direct jobs and 3 times as many indirect jobs? You can't take that away. You cannot take it away that the Nigerian Mortgage Refinance Institution Corporation was created. And it's going to change the way that mortgages are being given in this country to enable our young people to get mortgages. You cannot take it away that the Development Bank of Nigeria has been created. And when it is up and running in 9 months, hopefully the new government will continue it. It will be able to wholesale money so that our SMEs can get much more financing. This country, there is no SME can go and borrow for 5 or 10 years here. This new bank will offer them that facility. They will even have a period of grace, 1.5 years before they have to repay. Right now, they don't have it. You can't take it away. It's a fact on the ground. You cannot take it away that we have supported the creative industries and that we build the capacity of so many people to be able to make better films, employ more young people in this country.
The Minister of the Economy and Coordinating Minister of the Economy and Minister of Finance, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Residents of Kaduna now scramble for alternative sources of water as the scarcity hits the city. According to the state's water board, the problem is as a result of a damaged power transmission line to the Malali water treatment plant that supplies water to the metropolis and its environs. Our community report tonight examines how the people are coping with the lack. Kaduna, a state that occupies the western portion of northern Nigeria, has a population of over 6 million. Here, nature's gift, water, has become an essential commodity. Dry taps, reservoirs and dams are the true picture for the past 1 week. According to sources, the problem stems from lack of water at a complex of reservoirs and small dams built in the 1970s, which is the primary source of water in the state. A visit to some areas of the state shows how bad the situation is. At Banawa, the taps are completely dry, no water flowing. Residents here rely on commercial borehole operators and water vendors, popularly called Meruwa, for their daily water supply.
It's up to 4 days now. We have not seen water. We used to take pure water. We normally buy pure water and we have a well. But I'm not finding it easy at all. Because drawing water in well is another stress. But there's nothing we can do now. We have to, since there's no water in tap. Because last time they said it's because there's no lights, that NEPA are on strike, that is why there's no water. But now NEPA have resumed work, and up till now there's no water.
There are others who are not so affected, but the challenge they need to deal with is electricity to power their water pumps. The story is no different in Abubakar Kigo Road, New Extension. Residents are out on the streets in search of water. And where it is available, they have to join the long queue.
So we are begging them to restore the water back, getting to 1 week. This have never happened before in Kigo Road here. Since more than 1 hour, 2 hours, I couldn't get water here. So, and I don't know what to do. The situation is very bad.
At Sabon Tasha, residents have no option but to fetch from the well, which is not so clean. Some of them lay the blame of the biting scarcity on the State Water Board.
For now, for 3 days now, I'll be fetching from the well. Even to cook, we have to use the well water. Parboil it first to cook. I think the government should take this into consideration and make the supply more water or encourage the water board.
According to the authority, the State Water Board, the scarcity is attributed to a damaged power transmission line to the Malali water treatment plant.
This problem of power came up when the staff of Power Holdings went on strike. We were picked unaware, and there was no magic we could do in running those machines at that point of time when they went on strike. So that causes the problem of water scarcity in the metropolis.
There is one other issue that may be contributing to the problem: the attitude of the people in paying their bills.
Consumers are not paying their bills as when due, and it's part of what I wanted to even plead for people to pay their bills as when due.
As the saying goes, water is life, and it is important that the Kaduna State Water Board fixes things and makes water available to all the people. Still ahead of the news at 10, Team Nigeria will return to the international stage at the Taekwondo World Championships, which begin tomorrow in Russia. We have details in sports news. Please join us again.